好，我再录影一下哈。Okay, so after the group discussions, so you guys has a more idea about those 24 variables. But after, so we have to do some data processing before doing our machine learning methodologies. 做机器学习前，我们要先还是做一些基础的分析。Okay, so as for like the first examples for conversion rate, we have to convert the response data type, right? So with yes to 1 and convert no to 0. It's easy for us to calculate the number of response, right? Okay, so you guys know we just use the response variable, right? Apply a lambda function if x equal to no and return with 0. If y is not equal to no, right? Else, so response with 1. And also we mutate a new column name we name engaged. Okay, so we create a new variables. So right now we have 25 variables, right? So you can see we generate a new variables in the last column, name engaged, 对不对？好，我们产生的这个最后一个 engaged。Okay, so you can retrieve a different color name as you like. If you want to check does the lambda function did do the conversion correct or not, so you can show the response with the result engaged. Okay, so you only retrieve only 2 color names. Just put a list with these 2 variable name. 记得哦，这是有2个中括弧哦。Okay, so for the intern, this one we call a list with 2 variable with response and engage list. And with this one, we please show the index for response and engaged. Okay, so you may find the result is correct or not. Yes. 1. No, will convert to 0. Okay, 所以说都对的。好。Okay, the tail for the last 5 rows for the new data set. Okay, so first we have to introduce how to draw a data visualization like histogram of some variables. Okay, 所以说等一下呢，我们就开始要去画这个 histogram. Okay, so there are many variables you can use the histogram to see the distribution for each variables. Okay, so you have to show all the variable for you guys, and then it's easy for you guys to copy the variable you want to analyze. You don't have to keep by yourself, typing in by yourself. You just copy it. The variable name is easier for you guys. 好，这个已经讲过了哈。Okay, so we have to draw the histogram for total claim amount. What is the total claim amount for these 9,000 examples. So what is the distribution for the total claim amount? 这个 histogram 直方图，我们现在用这个就是这个理赔的总金额来看 ，OK， total claim amount. Okay, so we use the PLT. We just import the the math library, right? For PLT. So we use the geometry for histogram, HIST mean histogram. And we use, because the histogram is only one variables are required. 所以我们在做这个直方图的时候，只是单一变数 ，only one variable are required. You don't have to put two variable, multi-variables. You may get some error message. Only one variable is required. Okay, so you can change the board. How many boards for the histogram? So you may change with 50, 70, or 100. Okay, so last we have talked about how to change the x-axis, the name for the label for the x, for y, right? And all the total title name for the diagram. We also put a text for the peak, okay, to show the peak for this histogram. 这个我们是新的 ，okay, of text. And also we show the maximum for the total claim amount. Okay, so with this histogram instructions, you get the histogram for total claim amount. So you can see the distribution for each total claim amount. So you may see the peak for the total claim amount is less than $500 US. 所以说可以看到大概他们在出险的金额大概是小于500块。最高的金额呢 ，the maximum may be almost $3,000 US. 15万吧，因为3000的话大概是15万。好 ，OK， 那你们就这边可以试试看了哈。Okay, so you can see different histogram for income. 他们的收入啊 ，income. But there a lot of samples, their income are zero. 看到没？这个so too many are their income they didn't have any income for the customers 有些很多人并没有 so it's hard to make a difference for this part. So we do some processing to fill out the data bigger than zero. 因为我刚才可以看到这边都是零嘛，这个 income 是零的 ，so we have to filter the income variables which is bigger is bigger than zero. So for the first customers, true, false. So you may check from the diagram. So we have get this one DF, so you can see. the income. Income, right? Zero 这个是零的嘛 ？OK。So it will compare each columns for the income. If the income is bigger than zero, so the statements for this comparison is true. 对不对？啊，刚才这个 income 是大于零的，就表示有收入的，是 true. Okay, so those are those customers don't have any income, so they means zero. It's not bigger than zero is false. 对不对 ？Okay, it's easy for you guys to check the statements for each variables. And then we just to filter the data with, so they have the income. So we just filter the data. Use this comment. Okay, DF income bigger than zero, just retrieve for us. So you may see how many data we have retrieved. 6,000, almost 7,000, 将近7000笔的资料。那原先是几笔资料 ？So we have input over 9,000 records, right? But we exclude the customers who do not have any income. 好，我们就把这个 income 是零的就删掉了，对不对 ？Okay, so we do the same things. So we just to rename the data who the customer has income. So we rename a new data set we call DF income. Okay, to keep those customers, they have annual income. Okay, 他们有年收入的，就把它 filter 起来。Okay, so with this histogram of income, it's easy for you guys to see the distribution for the income, annual income, 对不对 ？Okay, with this diagram, it's hard for you to distinguish the difference between 20,000 all the way 100,000, 10,000块钱美金的，看到没？啊，所以说 different diagram shows a different meanings. So you have to do some process, OK？ 啊，这边我们就很简单，就是因为刚才的这个零的收入太多了，有没有？这个 peak 大概超过了 ，is more than 200 customers. They do not have any income. OK， 好，那我们今天呢，大概就做第一个这个 homework 了哈。So for the group homework for today. So to compute and draw the histogram for numerical variables. 好，那你们就可以去画一下，好不好？啊，那今天的 homework. Okay, so after you draw the histogram of histogram for numerical variables, so you may get some pictures with the numerical variables. 好，那你就直接在下面写就好了 ，OK？ So you can have your source code, just create a new source code to draw the numerical variables for their histogram. 好，一样，好不好？就直接在这边写就好了。 好，我在 Island 上改一下题目哈。好，那我再把后面的稍微讲完一下哈。Okay, so we have the last part for today's course. 好，我们今天题目我先接过来了哈。homework 的话，今天有2个哈，就 your group discussions. So just upload your final result for your group discussion. Okay, each student 每个人都传一样，同一组的就传一样的，好吧？因为这样子助教才好评分。Okay, for the chapter for the homework 5 is the histogram for numerical variables each. So please share your collab URL with us. 只要上传你的 URL 就好了。Okay, so don't forget to share your collab environments. This one to share. 记得要去共享 to share your. Okay, who knows your URL can access your source code. Otherwise, TA cannot access your source code, cannot find your result. 好，记得哈，这边要记得哈，都要把它开放出来。好 ，Okay, so we have to do some group by our chapter 2. Okay, so here is the same. Okay, so do the column names. So we have to find out the engage rate, right? So we have to the conversion rate is the same. So today, this lecture we call engage rate, 就参与率嘛 OK? So what is the engage rate for retention of their auto insurance? 他们这一次的这个汽车保险啊，这个再保率了啊 OK? So you can see the response, get the response variables for us. Dimension, okay, ship 0 index. What is the ship index 1 is 25. 记得咯，这上次都讲过了。Okay, so we use the group by the engage rate. Okay, so for this campaign for the auto insurance, the engage rate is 40%. 只有大概14% 的保护重新再保因为它是2个月的时间吧，还记得吧？它只是2个月的一个 marketing campaign. Okay, so they get 40% for the engage rate for each one. Okay, transform. Okay, with the row to column 这边就是很简单 with T function 这个是转字矩阵的transform your matrix from row to column 看到没这个是 column to row to column to use this function dot T 这个 T 是 big T Okay, so for the last part for today is I would like to introduce a function for pivot table. So you may get familiar with 枢纽分析 in Excel, right? 想想看 have you had any experience to use it Excel pivot table 枢纽分析？有用过举手？有没有用过枢纽分析？可能已经忘记了okay? So we also can use the Python to do efficient the pivot table for your data. Okay. So first we use three variables to take to account. Okay. So let me just to show the variables. So we only retrieve three variables. We would like to pivot the table for renew offer type. How many renew offer type? There are 4 renew offer type. Okay, the offer 1, 2, 3, 4. 它们只有4个形态. So I would like to do the pivot table for these 4 types, to do that pivot table for these 4 types. So let us to see all these 3 variables. Renew offer type for the first one, 第一笔资料 the first record, the second record, right? Engaged and response. Okay, so what is the pivot table? We use this pivot table is provided by pandas. Okay, pandas 除了可以read CSV 以外的，它也可以去做这个 data manipulation. Okay, 资料处理的部分。Okay, so for the pivot table, you have to assign the index you are going to do. Okay, so there are 3 variables, 3 parameters for pivot table. 3个参数for pivot table. Okay, so for the first variable, you have to check what is the index for the pivot table. The index is actually in the row here. So we have 4 times. So we have to calculate the 4 times the group, right? Pivot table 其实就是一个小的 group by 而已 okay? So index with this one. And the column with engage. How many unique data type for engage? Only 2 types, right? Engage 0, engage 1. Okay, it used to be response variable, right? Response no to 0, yes to 1, right? Okay, so you have to decide which columns for your pivot table. So I chose the variable engage because I want to find out the pivot table for each renew offer and with the type for engage. Okay, so first variable is this one. And the second variable is column name. Okay, index and column. And also we want to calculate the value for response. Okay, to calculate the response. to sum up a count. So length, a function. So we use the function length 就是长度. Okay. So what is the numbers, the count for each response? And we save the result as this one. Engaged by offer type df, and show the result for you guys. So you get this data frame. So you have to realize what the variable you want to keep in the index, this part, and columns. Okay, so you can do some exercise as you like. If I want to do the index, the engage for our index, and for the columns for our renew offer type, and also we calculate the count for the response. So you get this pivot table for engaged. 看到没有? Can you see the difference? Okay. Okay, so since for this column then is 0 and 1, and we renamed with not engaged and engaged. We name for this one. Okay, so we rename the column name for our first pivot table. 好，我们把只是改名了哈，从0、1改成 engaged, not engaged. Okay, okay, so we have to plot the result for our pivot table. Okay, so here shows the engage rate for each type. So you may have some discussion for this. So we have some discussion next week about this diagram. Okay. 好，那你们就试试看咯。啊，这个 pivot table, so you can choose a different category variables as you like to see the pivot table between two variables. 啊，你们可以去看看 because we only to show to calculate the response 也可以，好不好？啊，好，那 also you can use the value as engaged also， 你也可以把 response 改成 engaged， 这边是 engaged and engaged， but you have to change the function for sum。 好，为什么？因为这边其实这个就变成可以去做加总啊 ，sum 多少个？好 ，OK， 那各位先把这个程式码看一下。好，那今天大概我们就先上到这里，然后下礼拜呢 ，so we have discussed more about this diagram we get from the pivot table。好，好吧，那你们就把刚才的小组讨论再讨论一下哈。那这边实习嘛，你们就练习到这里。好。好，所以说我们其实大概很多都会重复再讲啊，你就会越了解这边怎么去做。Okay, so we may have some examples. Okay, so you can familiar with the process for data analytics. All the same.